Lewis.
Joined the meeting.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh no, not that one. I have this one. And this. How's that? It should work now.
Lewis.
What's going on?
Joined the meeting.
Hello? Oh, he joined. Admit. He's in again.
Hello.
Luis.
Yes.
You joined.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Is it just you and I?
Are you driving home?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Wow. I'm in my bedroom. I was trying to take a nap. I forgot.
Nobody else has joined the meeting? We are not popular? We're not viral?
We're not viral. Let's see if but I invited a few. Let's see. Where's
Did you guys continue on the meeting yesterday when I left it? With
this
David?
morning?
I think it was his name. No, yesterday afternoon.
Afternoon? Yes, we continued.
Anything interesting I missed?
Yes, we talked about oh, mushrooms.
Ah, interesting. I don't know much about mushrooms. I know they're good for you. Some of them are better than others, I understand, but I haven't gone to the science of it.
That's what Mike introduced. Oh.
Where was Mike? Yes.
Mike in Pensacola area.
Nice.
What else did we talk about? Oh, I think we talked about some of the things Dominic's wife does.
Yeah.
Yes,
As far as nutrition and all that stuff?
Yes, his wife has a YouTube channel with thousands of subscribers.
Wow, nice.
The intuitive body.
What is his channel? Maybe I'll take a look at it.
I think the channel is called The Intuitive Body.
The intuitive body. Okay.
The Intuitive Body Foodie Network.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
With
So
what
did you get? What did you get of our conversation this morning?
that there may be a third factor in
That there is,
under
that
reason.
there is a third
There
aspect.
is the
But I never mentioned it
pure
before. That was the
reason,
deal.
and there is pure reason, and there is practical reason. I think that's the way it might be termed. I'll have to
Yeah.
study more.
See,
Or we
there are
called it
there are two.
impure reason.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Impure reason would be the conventional perspective. Pure reason, the transcendental perspective, and no reason whatsoever, which is the zero that everything comes to. You know, because where infinity starts, there is no more reasoning. That's done. The pure reasoning, in a sense, disappears because reality, in and of itself, is beyond reasoning. No matter how pure it might be. Let's put it this way. So there is a beginning and an end, but there isn't in reality. So it's not a real beginning or a real end. It's just how reality sees it everywhere in every place with a certain degree of purity or accuracy. I used to say that the reality beholds itself, experiences itself, lives itself, is itself with a certain degree of clarity through each consciousness. And we can say that a leaf of a tree is consciousness, or a virus is consciousness. So basically, any phenomenon is that bridge between the zero and infinity. So we can call any phenomenon, we can say it is somehow some consciousness, but reality becoming explicit, and within that, becoming self-aware of itself. You see? We always talk about consciousness being self-aware, but it's in reality what we're talking about is how aware reality is regarding itself. See, that's the big identity blunder that we make as human beings, because we think that clarity, we see reality clearly, but in reality, it's not us that sees reality clearly. It's reality that sees itself clearly, more or less, through each consciousness, through each one of its phenomena, the phenomena that arise or emerge from it, within it, at infinity, at eternity, everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So there. But there are those three aspects. In reality, we could talk about, instead of talking about pure thinking and impure thinking, which is always moralized, we could talk about consciousness or thinking in the spectrum between very clear, not clear at all, or just very basic, to extremely subtle and abstract and clear, omniscience. That way we don't talk about pure and impure, which can be construed as, impure is dirty and you should be ashamed because it's impure. It has nothing to do with morality. This is beyond good and evil. To use Nietzsche's expression, beyond good and evil, or become beyond beautiful or ugly. This is just, we're talking about the whole of reality here. We're not talking about three monkeys, on a planet, fighting about a piece of land. So yeah, there are those three aspects. Actually, it's two aspects, and then within the phenomenal aspect, there's this spectrum of clarity, because reality cannot see itself through the non-phenomenal aspect, and we must understand that that non-phenomenal aspect is part of the phenomenal aspect too, because if not, the phenomenal aspect would look like a picture and not like a movie. Anyway, so that's what did you get out of it? I mean, does this make any sense to you? Does this clarify what I'm saying to you? Is your view regarding reality a little bit more clear?
Let me see. Are you saying that there is pure reason and impure reason, and then there is suddenly no reason?
Neither.
And
there's neither.
And that pure reason is comparable to absolute truth, and impure reason is comparable to conventional truth, and then there is no reason that's like no truth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because the impure reason and pure reason are just two aspects of the same reasoning. A reason, same reason. So impure reason and pure reason is still reason. It's just less clear. Through impure reason, it's like a mirror that is dirty or is clean. If you look into a mirror, if it is dirty, you can't see shit. You can't see yourself. But if you clean the mirror, it's the same mirror. All of a sudden, it's clear and you can see yourself perfectly. So that's consciousness is like a mirror in which reality is looking at itself. And depending on how clean, how unpolluted, dusty, and impure the mirror is, then reality will see itself better or worse. But we have to understand that the mirror is also reality. So it's not separate. It's immanent with reality. The mirror is also reality. It's another aspect of reality. Let's put it that way. A part of reality. Of the whole.
And then what is no mirror? No mirror.
Well, in reality, as it is, and in the mirror, as part of the whole, zero is everywhere. Zero is everywhere. Reality is made of zeros and ones, I've told you before. So 0 is everywhere, 1 is everywhere. And depending on how many ones and zeros you put together, you get stuff that has different aspects. So 0 is in the mirror, 0 is in reality, 0 is between them, is everywhere. The matrix is made out of zeros and ones. So reality is 1 and 0, 0 and 1 is, but of course, reality being infinite, you have an infinity of zeros and ones, potentially. You see?
Oh. So what is no mirror in the metaphor of looking at a mirror? What is no mirror? What is that like? Not there not being
Well,
no mirror.
if we're making a parallel, in this case, a mirror is an aspect of reality through which reality looks at itself. It is clear that you could say that, a mirror can be a leaf, can be a tree, can be an atom, can be zero itself. It doesn't matter. So you can say that no mirror is the function to infinity where reality can understand itself to the minimum, to almost zero. You see, anything between 0 and 1 is reality becoming actualized and seeing itself with a certain degree of clarity. So you could say that no mirror is no consciousness, no actualization, no phenomenon. It's the 0 Kelvin. You can say that. Anything that is not 0 is something, and through something, reality can see itself a little bit through that tiny little quantum bit.
Or could it be that no mirror is what is seen by the person looking at the mirror? So the person looking at the mirror is not aware of a mirror.
Wait a minute.
Is there
The
only
person
aware of what is seen?
but
So
the mirror is consciousness. So what you're saying is that the person looking is consciousness. It's another mirror. It's a mirror looking at the mirror. Is it consciousness looking at itself?
Or what if there's the person and there's the mirror, and the mirror is reality, and then the person uses reality to see himself, and so the no mirror is the person, what the person sees is the object perceived. How's that?
You can play with those concepts, yes, but we're changing the rules of the game here. So now, the mirror is reality, the whole, and then what you're saying is somebody is looking at the mirror but doesn't see reality, so it only looks at the mirror and misses the point that the reality is the mirror. It's just like somebody looking at an object and not knowing that it is just another aspect of reality. So he doesn't see the big picture, sees only the tiny picture, the object. In that case, that individual completely misses the picture. Yes. And that's what happens, at the conventional level, the impure reason. Looks at things, but doesn't understand their nature. Doesn't know, where do things come from? And then it invents somebody that put that in there.
Because there is a sutra, which is not really a sutra, but the Chinese call it the platform sutra, where this ignorant guy joins a monastery and they're looking
Yes.
for their next leader,
Right.
and he
Yes, yes.
and the question asked is something involving a mirror that
About
they
the
have
mirror,
to
yes.
you have to
Yes.
dust it, and so
Yes.
maybe they were
And he says there is no mirror.
assuming maybe they were thinking that the mind is the mirror, but he was saying no, the mind is not the
There is no
mirror.
mind. There is no mind.
Maybe
There is no mind.
what
There is
he's
no dust.
saying, maybe what he's saying is that the mind is actually what is observed in the mirror, that
What
it's
he's
not the
saying is
actual
that the
mirror.
mind that is, the reality looks at itself through a mind, and the mind is reality. So there is no distinction between the observer, reality, the observing, the act of observing, and the observed. So, if we call reality the observed, what is but is looked at, and observing the act of looking, and be saying, hey, there's something here, and then the observer, which is what we call consciousness, it turns out that they are the same one thing. And that being the case, then you cannot say that there is an observer or a mirror or reality. It is and it is not at the same time. That's why that thing says there is no mirror, there is no dust, there's no place for anything to fall on. So there is no mirror, there is no mind. The whole thing is nothing. When you think about it, reality is just the vibration. I mean, what we see of reality, the phenomenal side, is a vibration of 0 Kelvin. And not in one place only, everywhere. Everywhere.
Mhm. So maybe the no reason suggests that there are mental processes that require no reason, that is direct experience of the object without having to use words to label and impute, oh, I see a cup, uh, but in, but with no reason, we see not the cup, but the object as it is, without this um,
The
labeling
object
it.
itself, the object itself, which happens to be the whole of reality, which happens to be the
Like,
vibration of nothing. You're
so
looking at
maybe
emptiness.
it sees, if not the whole of reality, an aspect of it that seems to be the same as any other object looked at.
That's reality itself. So reality is the real picture, and what you see of it is a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter where you look, you see the complete picture. That's the way a hologram works. You should read David Bohm in his book, The Holographic Universe. He explains that in the scientific terms very beautifully. So basically, what you're looking at in the cup, in every pixel of the cup, let's put it that way, is the whole of reality.
One, two. Hmm. 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 So, but what did Immanuel Kant really mean by pure reason?
Hold on a second. Let me put you on hold for a second.
What was. Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Um, wait. Hmm. Yeah.
Hey, I'm back. I am back, Kyle. So where were we? Where were
So
we? Oh, what did Kant mean by
what did Kant mean
pure
by
reason?
pure reason?
Well,
Hmm.
actually, it's just. I mean, we get all hung up on the with the words, but pure reason is the maximum amount of clarity with which reality can experience itself. Yeah,
The
that's what
maximum
pure reason
amount
is.
of clarity
Yeah, with which
with
reality
which reality
can experience itself. And when I
with
say reality,
which
I say the
reality
whole.
can experience the whole
The
can
whole, the
experience
maximum
itself.
clarity with which the whole can experience itself through its parts. There.
Why do you say that?
Because reality is a whole. When I talk about reality, I talk about the whole. And reality experiencing itself, that experiencing is through consciousness, obviously. So, how much does reality experience itself through a mosquito? How much does reality experience itself through a tree or a root or a grain of sand or a molecule or an atom or a string? How much does reality know it is through those phenomena? How much does reality experience itself through a human mind? How much does reality understand through the mind of the village idiot? How much does reality understand itself through the mind of Einstein, or through the mind of the Buddha, or a Buddha, or through the mind of the cashier at Walmart, or through your mind, or through my mind, or through the pole, the electric pole in the street? As you can see, in that case, the mirror is reality itself. And clarity is based on
somebody's knocking at the door.
All right.
Mike. Mike is back.
Hello, Mike.
He's driving too.
Everybody's driving somewhere.
Do not.
Good afternoon.
Do not zoom and drive. It's dangerous. Oh, but
I don't have my camera on. I'm just on the phone.
We have 67% of the people in this meeting driving.
66.6.
What is this world coming to? Wow.
How's everybody doing?
Doing great. It's Friday.
Oh.
Yeah.
God bless America.
I was taking a nap. I was trying to take a nap, and Luis called me to remind me that we had scheduled an impromptu meeting a few days ago for this Friday. And Mike was there also yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, yesterday.
Mike, I was asking Jairo about you, and he tells me that you are an expert in mushrooms.
Oh, I wouldn't say an expert. I just became interested in them recently, but I think they're they're fascinating when it comes to nutrition and composting, and they got a lot of applications.
I'm interested in mushrooms from the nutrition standpoint and wellness standpoint, and that's where I would take my because I'm interested in mushrooms, like I'm interested in fungus. Mushrooms are fungus, and actually
yes,
mushrooms and fungus are the link between mineral and animal. The link between them. I understand that fungus is able to convert mineral into some kind of a compost, and from which life can happen. So it's not mineral, it's not animal, it's something in between.
Yeah, I'm really not an expert, but I know there's a lot of benefits. They're a very important part of
our nutrition,
health and ecology. Yeah, I did see where there was some studies where they were doing cleanup of like toxic land, and mushrooms were very successful in breaking things down and converting them to like I forget what they call them, some kind of a psyllium sugars, and
yes.
Yeah,
they break things down
plants,
and turn them into something where things can grow. So they detoxify in a sense, or they demineralize. So they can break into rocks and stuff, and all of a sudden you have dirt in there. So anyway, so I was thinking that maybe if you have a place. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was going to say something that I found interesting is apparently mushrooms can act against viruses without destroying bacteria, and so I want to kind of figure out more a little bit about that because here in this day and age where we're thinking about viruses, our immune system depends on healthy bacterium.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Part of our DNA is virus parts of virus. So we have virus in our DNA. I'm sure we have viruses as well as bacteria within us in a symbiotic soup of life. So not all viruses are bad. Not all bacteria are bad. In a sense, we cohabitate with them, and they are part of our wellness, our constitution.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting world, and of course, nutrition. That's where everything starts. Good nutrition, good bacteria, probiotics, all kinds of stuff. But I haven't studied much the mushrooms, and well, you're going to be the reason why I'm going to start looking into it.
You will pass me up very quickly, I'm sure.
I don't know about that. It takes me a long time to learn properly, but I enjoy it. So who's in a rush?
Yeah.
So. ¿Estuvo en la oficina?
We had a very interesting. We had a very interesting Zoom this morning with Jairo and Dominic. And it was in the lines of. I started reading about, actually not about. I started reading Immanuel Kant and the critique of pure reason, and that brought on a whole bunch of stuff in my worldview. And we were talking about pure reason and impure reason, and I was talking about that with Jairo, and something came to me. A new verbalization of the description of reality as it is, and it was a very interesting one. We talked about pure reason, impure reason, and this has nothing to do with morality or anything. It's just accurate reasoning, inaccurate reasoning, and no reasoning at all. Those would be the zero Kelvin. That would be the three aspects of reality. And I thought this morning that it's funny how in the Hindu religions they describe Brahman with three faces, or the three faces of Shiva. So I thought it was an interesting comparison.
Yeah. So you've mentioned something when we were on the phone last time about the the metaphysical, and I was just thinking, when with regard to all these concepts, the ability to derive conclusions. I mean, how much depends on what you can sense and what you can comprehend, and how do the limitations of your ability to sense and comprehend fall short of what you can put your finger on when it comes to reality?
That's a fundamental question, fundamentally important, because every consciousness, every self-awareness, every human consciousness, in a sense, wants to understand. We want to understand. And we, if we are not careful enough and we don't ask questions, we run into trouble, and then we have to ask questions. We start asking questions when we run into trouble, and life always brings trouble. There's always going to be some suffering, something that goes wrong, somebody that dies, losing a job, having an accident, being diagnosed with some disease or something. I mean, life is a constant disappointment. Because what we want is to be happy, or I would say we just want to have peace of mind. We don't want to be afraid. We don't want to be in doubt. We don't want to be harassed, and we want to be comfortable. A state of what they call ataraxia. So a peace of mind. And of course, if you don't have peace of body, you're not going to have peace of mind. if you're in pain, you're not going to be you're going to be in pain. It's going to bother you.
Pero
So
entonces si,
it every
si salía
consciousness
con, en vez de
is
con Cloud
in a
y
battle,
al
in
local,
a
a ver si
constant
corre
battle.
mejor, a ver
It's
si
an
usa menos
existential battle
recursos
between
o correr más rápido, no
suffering
sé.
and
O si no, no se nota la
and
diferencia,
enjoyment
podría decir
or peace of mind.
que requiere más
So
memoria la
in
computadora
the
o
end,
más video, más
we are going
códigos
to
de
ask
video
ourselves
o
the
la
question,
tarjeta de video
even if it is
tiene
on
que
our
tener más memoria.
last breath.
Yo lo
The
instalé
typical
en la
question is, what the hell
computadora
was
de
all this
Felipe
about?
y pues no lo ensayé
Knowing that
ahí,
it's going to
pero
be
de pronto
over,
la de
that
Felipe
this body is going to
tiene
fall
más
apart, that
poder
my last breath is going to happen in the next couple hours.
para
And so
ensayarla,
that question
para ver si
happens
corría mejor,
automatically. It's almost
porque
intuitive.
tiene una
What the
tarjeta de
hell is this
video
about?
de
What
4
was
gigas
this whole picture about? What was the
creo
sense?
que
What was the
además
meaning of this
tienen una
picture, this
giga o dos, pero de
action
ahí
movie?
4 entonces debe correr
And
mejor
I
de
think
RAM.
it's a good thing to start asking the question before we run out of time. So
Hay que
when the
conseguir
final
tarjetas
breath
de
comes
video
in, we go,
para
all right,
la
I
suya
already got this, no problem.
de
I know what's
más
going to happen
RAM,
now.
puede costar
The light bulb is going to
$50.
go off. And we have all those questions answered. It's like, okay, I know exactly what life is about, what I am about in life, all those big questions that are very difficult to answer. There is no mathematics to describe them in heuristic ways. Although physics is telling us exactly with complicated things like the Schrodinger cat, the photon or the electron beam particle and wave at the same time. Modern physics is telling us in a complex mathematical way.
Sí. Y
It
Silvia
says from our
salía
perspective,
a,
at the conventional, feet on the ground, I'm going to work and I'm going to pay my taxes.
Creo.
So these metaphysical questions and metaphysical answers have proven to be of fundamental importance, even to understand better the conventional questions of life. Should I wake up in the morning, get out of bed, go to work, pay my taxes, or send anybody who could fuck themselves off? See? So the critical thinking, the metaphysical understanding of reality helps understand the conventional understanding of reality. So I call that transversal thinking or transversal knowledge, which mixes conventional knowledge, 2 + 2 = 4. If I work hard, I'll make more money. If I make more money, I'll pay more taxes. If I eat better, I won't have diabetes. All the practical stuff. Mixing those two knowledges, the practical stuff and the completely impractical metaphysical knowledge, which we believe is impractical, but in reality is just as practical as the practical one. And the limitation there is how many questions can you ask? How much can you think outside the box? How much can you question your own understanding, your own beliefs, your own premises, the things that you give as that's the way it is, like time and space, or the way things function, or the nature of things. What are how do things? And of course, you have to go to in order to ask those whimsical questions, you have to go to physics, because if not, you're going to make up a real, like a story, a myth. Oh yeah, lightning is a god that is very mad, and because he is the owner of a fire, when I miss the deer, he just goes ahead and brings fire down to earth.
Yeah.
And science tells us that lightning is an electromagnetic phenomenon which happens by blah 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 blah. So the more scientific you become, the better positioned you are to ask questions that are metaphysical and to answer those metaphysical questions based on science. Because science, positive science, studies what is. How do things work? from the quantum level all the way to the cosmological level. What we can see, because now we have light at a certain speed. There's so much we can see. There's a lot of light. Actually, there's an eternity and infinity of light that hasn't come to us because it's too far away. And we can't see anything further than about 15 light years in radius.
The light that we see, we're seeing the light of a long time ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The further back
when we look in the sky.
So, but your question is of fundamental importance. I mean, it's at the core of my life, Mike. I mean, that's the way it took me 20 some years. It takes some time. I didn't have anybody to tell me where to look. I had to look for myself. And I'm not sure that if you look, it would go faster. And one good example is Heido. Heido's been talking to me for 2008 to 2021. I don't know how many years that is, but in any case, Heido has a hard time. Heido has a hard time thinking transversally, both conventionally and metaphysically at the same time. And he keeps asking the same questions about the same things, and we've been doing this for 13 years. So, no guarantees. No guarantees. Go ahead,
I mentioned last time that I'm a Christian, and I rely on some of what I learned to provide me a launching point for some of these ideas. And so along this particular subject line, I think of an area of scripture where it talks about, the spirit gives life and the flesh counts for nothing, no thing. And what I think about with regard to that is I think about life outside of the metaphysical, and light not in the sense that we know it from science, but life in the sense of we have a creator, and there, what we exist in, and all of our perceptions and our intellect are based within that set of rules. But when we talk about, and the reason why I find agreement in where my faith lies and what I can experience is, in the end, what is it all about, and how does that reconcile back with a creator that's good? I think about the creator being the number one thing is relationships, and that's what I like about you guys meeting and talking is you're participating in what I find to be the most important thing, which is relationships. The best description of God that I've been able to hold on to is love. Love being in English just one word, but a much more robust word in other languages, as I'm sure you know. So as we strive for things that make us happy in our flesh, those things in my mind count for nothing as compared to the spirit. And so while and some of the evidence we'll find in that is, you can find people in completely different circumstances with completely unexplainable dispositions towards their circumstances, and that's just evidence that those circumstances aren't what's important. It's the way they process them. But I think that what this will have all been about, and this is just I'm sharing my my theory, my hunch, my faith is
your worldview. Yes, your intuition.
It will be about our compatibility with a pure relationship that goes beyond the physical. Like our ability to be in relationship is handicapped by the metaphysical realm. There's things you need to attend to. We have day and we have night, and we have sleep patterns and other things that we have to tend to. And I think there's going to come a time when we transition, where we will experience relationship in a way that our minds cannot conceive, and we can toy with it, but I think we're kidding ourselves if we think we can really assess it. And again, and just for clarification, I believe that not everyone can subscribe to that. It's just it really has passed the scrutiny that I can throw at it. It
Yes,
holds
yes,
true
yes.
for me. Yeah.
Well, what you have said is a beautiful description of your understanding of reality, because what you're putting everything in there, God, the relationship with God, and how it all comes back to God, which is an important uh, concept, because in my worldview, what you call God, actually I call reality with or the whole with a big W, capital W, or a reality as a big R, capital R. Like reality is everything. Like God is everything. He's everything because he created everything. But what you call God, I call reality. And so, if you ask me, do you believe in God? I would say I am trying to know reality as best as I can. So that pure reasoning, the pure reason would be to get closer and closer and closer to reality, which in your vocabulary, I would be saying I am trying to get as close as possible to God, go back to Him, like you just said, completing the loop. You see, the creation, having a full relationship with the Creator. So, if we use the words carefully, we can, in the end, realize that we're talking about the same thing or the same concept, the same idea with different words. And that is the beauty of being able to share ideas and go, well, what do you mean by this or this word or that term or this phrase, et cetera, et cetera. And if we do that well enough, we are able to transcend language and then have this pure understanding, which would equate to the light. And in doing that, we are actually going back to the Creator, what you call God. To me, the Creator reality has always been there, because God is eternal. In your worldview, God is eternal. He made everything, so He was always there and will always be there. So to me, the same, equally, reality is eternal and infinite. It's everything. It's the whole. And then, what's inside is, emergent of it. And it changes. Of course, everything changes all the time. So reality is a process, a dynamic process that's always been there and will always be there, that is in constant change. Except for the fact that it's always there, so you can say, well, something that changes all the time doesn't really change. What doesn't change is change, or what changes is no change. But we are talking about exactly the same, I would say, mental image. What you call God, I call reality, and then we can compare. So, what do you think God is like? Okay, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
so you tell me the specs, and I'll tell you my specs, and I can tell you that we're gonna agree pretty much on everything.
But the reality is not something one believes in, whereas God, one believes in, and one is supposed to believe in that He came down to earth as
in that sense, I have a great advantage.
So
my worldview has a great advantage because I don't have to believe in. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jairo. Jairo, I interrupted you 3 times. I'm sorry.
So what happened there? This idea of the Trinity. Yes, I can by looking at the evidence say, yes, there was this influential person that was on planet Earth, and and he had developed a great following. But then around the 4th century AD, they decided to elevate him, to equate him to Godhead, equivalent to God. and but when you look at the New Testament, nobody calls him God, but the Son of God or the Messiah. Maybe John, the the Gospel of John, suggests something like that, but the rest of it is they believe that he was just the Messiah. So how did that happen? Why did they elevate him to God and have the Catholic Church believe in the Trinity, that there's three persons in one? Hmm.
Okay, I I don't know. I don't know who was in charge of writing that memo. And actually, it is of no interest to me, because what I this consciousness is the one that's trying to understand reality, or God, and his nature, or its nature, or her nature, because there's no gender there. So God and its nature, uh,
but
and trying to
maybe
understand.
Well, I can
but
answer
maybe
probably.
the purpose of having Jesus equated with God is to make him personable, and yes, have a relationship. But it's hard to have a relationship with something scientific. But for humans, normal people, it's easier to have a relationship with a person,
I can give you
that
the Christian
conversations with.
answer to that question if you're
Mm.
interested. You want to hear the, like, I guess at least my version of the Christian interpretation of those
Yeah,
questions? Or so
yeah. To me,
Okay.
it's
so
more important to what you think. Yes.
going back to God as perfect relationship, right?
Yep.
And the meaning of life is for us to be in relationship with each other, and then be in relationship with God
Uh-huh.
in a perfect way. So in scripture, you learn about the fall of man, right? And in the fall of man, we made a choice, generically, we, mankind, Adam, um, to decide for ourselves, ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yes.
We wanted to
Yes.
be wise like God. So what happened at that point, in my understanding, is we relied on our own wisdom and our own logic, whereas prior to that, we allowed God to distinguish those things
For
for
us.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so essentially, that's, we went astray. And so now we
Yeah.
live in this world where everyone, is, has their own wisdom, and essentially they're the Lord of their own lives, right? And
Yes.
and we've lost touch with what God's perfect standard looks like. For example, and so what we're going to go to, in my mind, is that perfect relationship again. And so the
Yes.
question is, who's qualified for that perfect relationship? And so what
Mm-hmm.
Jesus did was he lived the life, the perfect life, and as a atonement for our imperfect lives, because God is just. He can't
Mm-hmm.
overlook stuff. Somebody has to pay a penalty. Okay,
Yeah.
so as part of evidence of how poorly we live, there's insight to some of God's standards. For example, if you've been angry with your brother, you're as bad as a murderer. If you've looked lustfully at a woman, you're an adulterer, according to God's
Mm-hmm.
standard. So, like, who can
Yeah.
survive that standard? Well, no one but Jesus could. And so what
Right.
Jesus was he was that sacrifice. And why was there sacrifice? And again, some of you guys are probably way smarter than me on tracing some of this stuff back. But so there's justice, and there's pure relationship that we're headed to, and that was the means of taking a
Yeah.
world that chose poorly early on into a place that they otherwise don't deserve.
Understood, Mike.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I'm going to have to let you guys go because I finished my commute. But I think this is worth a long Zoom discussion. Because
Yeah.
what I would like to do is to take the ideas that you just expressed here, and
Yeah.
I was going to translate that to my worldview, and where
Yeah.
I can understand I can understand everything you're saying. As a matter of fact, it makes sense, perfectly good sense. It's just that I have somehow a different perspective on the same idea, and I can translate back and forth from one and the other, where everything makes sense no matter from what perspective we look at it, which is the beauty. Because at the end of the day, there's only one God that we all want to go back to, and I say there's only one reality that we can or we cannot perfectly understand. Each individual, each consciousness sees reality clearly or not so clearly. In the same way, each individual is getting closer to God or not, depending on how they think, what they do, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we are talking about the same thing, and I think it's going to be very
We'll talk
interesting
about it
continuing this
tomorrow
conversation.
morning at 7 a.m.
Very
Tomorrow
good.
morning, we'll continue it where we
We're
left
on.
off at 7 in the morning.
We're on.
All right,
So
guys.
I'm looking forward to that, guys. Thank you very much. It's
Mike,
always very enjoyable.
for
All right.
your
Y'all have a good night.
explanation
You
of the
too.
Christian view of reality.
Excellent.
And that we need a person to demonstrate that it can be done, to have a perfect relationship to the point that even people say that must be God.
I agree 100%. All right, guys. Have a
All
good
right.
evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
You too.
Okay,
Take care.
thank you,
Bye.
Luis. What do you think, Mike? What is it that, why did we need someone to why did we need Jesus to pay to be a sacrifice? That's an interesting question, because there were for many centuries there was a lot of sacrifice going on, and you could even see it in Central America, in South America, I suppose. Central America would be the Mayans, the Aztecs, and such people. And in South America, that would be the Incas. Didn't they have sacrifices going on? And then if you go over to the land of people like Abraham and Moses, didn't they have sacrifices? Or there's the guy named Abraham. He was told to sacrifice his son to demonstrate allegiance to God. Oh my gosh. That is that is that is horrible to no, not horrible. That is incredibly, he was saved from doing it. So was that a test? Being at the point of sacrificing his son. In other words, he was convinced, he had the intention. So it was not completed, so it was an incomplete karma. So let me look that up. Oh, wait a minute. Uy, tú estás en una reunión. Sí. ¿Quién está haciendo la actividad? Ya no está la silla. ¿Ya viene? Sí. Nosotros somos niños. Pues hay el aparatico. ¿Qué aparatico? No sé, el para acá, ¿no? ¿Qué aparatico? Okay. Hmm. Okay. Where's that book? Okay. Here it is. Oh man. Hmm. So, so I'm a member of a cult. Yeah. Entonces, ya casi. Hmm? Okay, so I was going to look up karma. Hmm. Karma, karma. I'm a member of a cult, and this is the Spanish version of this encyclopedia of the Buddhist path. Well, that's what I would call it. Nobody calls it that. Okay, karma. Hmm. Okay, 283. Let's see. Uh, karma. Oh. Or the factors that determine the I should pull up the the book in English of this I have the Spanish version right here. I think I have the Kindle version in Kindle. Let's see if I can pull that up. Mm. Uh, so why did I want to pull that up? Because Abraham was told to kill his son. Mm, I think it was indirectly or what? I don't know. I don't know how, where he got that message. Was it in a dream or what? I forget. But I know that he was stopped from killing his son by an angel, by a messenger. Let's see. But I'm gonna look at joyful, joyful path of good fortune. So that's the English version I'm pulling up on my desktop. And so when I can look up karma, and that'll come up a lot. 132 results. Well, it should be a lot. It's a pretty thick book. I don't know. What do you think? Well, I found an area on page 283 where no, I don't think it talks about what I'm looking for. Yeah, I have to go through it. Understanding. Let's see. Okay, so going refuge karma. The laws, the law of karma. Oh, okay, here it is. Maybe. I just no. Because so much good given it. Can I merit negative karma by purifying all our negative past pleasure, especially negative that we have. I want to find an area where it gets technical about karma. Well, they're all technical, but where it explains completion of karma, condition laws of karma. Maybe it's over here. Conviction of the laws of karma? No. Very pure that. Guide this is limited bhikshu can purify negative karma, but if purify negative karma, impure, when ripening karma is creating karma. Can you remember what karma we have created? Exhaust karma appears to depend considering law of karma. Consider in general most people understanding the general law about this. Considering the law of karma in general, most people, whether or not they are religious, believe that we should engage in virtuous actions and avoid actions that are harmful. If we understand the general law of karma, that good actions produce good results and bad actions produce bad results, we will understand how hell exists, for hell is the painful, terrifying world that is experienced as a result of the most destructive kinds of bad action. Considering dreams, the suffering of beings in the great hells. In general, appears to depend on when we die. Our karma is exhausted. Condition. Conviction of samudra prafara. I can't find the conviction. Meditating on the law of karma. The conviction says negative karma. Four general. Okay. The general characteristics of karma. There are four general characteristics of karma. The results of actions are definite. The results of actions increase. If an action is not performed, its results cannot be experienced. An action is never wasted. Let's see. The results of action increase. An action is never wasted. Consider the particular types of actions and their effects. Killing, stealing, lying, hurtful speech, covetousness. The nature of the action, the intention, the degree of negativity of any action depends upon the power of the delusion that is involved. For example, to kill in a violent rage is more negative than to kill with mild anger. The method, the severity of non-virtuous action, the effects of non-virtuous actions, the ripening effect, the ripened effect, the effect similar to the cause, quote, the effect similar to the object, the nature of action, the effect, oh shit, the effect similar to the cause. There are two types of effect that are similar to the cause. Tendencies similar to the cause, experiences similar to the cause. The experience similar to lying is that no one trusts what we say and people do not listen to our advice. The experience similar to divisive speech is that we find it hard to develop harmonious relationships with others, and we experience similar to hurtful speech is that others say unpleasant things to us. Okay, so I gotta go. So I'll see you next time. Bye.